video, and coming to the end of 2024, I thought I would just show everybody and tell everybody what my favourite and the top albums were for this year of 2024. The albums, I'm only going to do top 5, of course. These are albums that I've had on repeat. Countless times I've listened to all these albums. I do have to give a shout out to 2 albums that didn't make the cut, but I thoroughly enjoy, and that is State Champs by State Champs and Leave You in the Dark by In Her Own Words. Both albums are great, but we're going to go jump straight into it because it's going to be a long video. But these are the top 5 albums that I have for this year. Anyway, on to the top 5. Number 5, these 5 albums are the only albums that I have fully in my playlists. Another quick shout out for one of the albums, State Champs by State Champs. They are my most listened to band for the past 5 years on Spotify, so shout out to that one. Again, just like In Her Own Words, hasn't been out that long, and to me it's not as good as the finer things, but I digress. Number 5 is very simply, and it's kind of the way I'd see it would be that I have put this in simply because I love them and I think what they do is great, and that would be Bring Me the Horizon, their newest album, I should say, which is the Posthumus Next Gen. Now, quite frankly, there are quite a few songs on the list that they have that are phenomenal. There are some that to me aren't fantastic, but I have got them all on my playlist. I don't really skip any of these songs, but in my opinion, it's a very, very, very good album. I only wish they would, do another show or in fact headline again at a festival like Download. But beggars can't be choosers. That is my number 5, Posthumus Next Gen. And this song coming up, it is called NA.
So maybe I should drop dead. Eat shit, go to hell. I could jump head first out the window. Dark thoughts keep on filling up in my mind. Whoa, kinda wanna get fucked. Make love to a chainsaw rapper. Drop top round the Lambo. Not sure I'll be coming back down this time. Fuck it.
So that was NA by Bring Me the Horizon, coming in at 5. Number 4 now. It's quite a different album, I suppose. Nothing that I would normally listen to in terms of the bands that I have in mind. But this artist, I am going to see them next year at Download, which I'm excited for. They also they also accompanied the number 1 band on this list with a song. It may give it away when it comes to it, and when I tell you what the album is called, or maybe what the artist is called. But this artist, no skips in this album again. I think this album is very good, better than the last one they brought out. I gave Bring Me the Horizon an 8 out of 10, and that's saying something. Because 8 out of 10 in my book is very difficult to even get. This is a solid 8.5. I can push it to 9 based off one song, but I can't. So this is in number 4, unfortunately. This album is called Negative Spaces by an artist called Poppy. You may recognise her from the YouTube videos called Poppy. But this next song and the album being Negative Spaces, this is Poppy, and this song is called A New Way Out.
On and on, 'cause they push and pull me down, and I'm forced to face who I've become. The silence screams so loud. I climb myself before the bottom. I need a new way, give me a new way.
So that was Poppy with A New Way Out, coming in at number 4. Now, coming in at 3, I have to, stress this. It might be in third place of my favourite albums and the best albums of 2024, but there's a bigger distance between third and second than there is in second and first, but even the distance between third and second is quite minor. These 3 bands and 3 albums are quite a while away from, Bring the Horizon and Poppy, but this was a difficult choice, and in third place I had to pick a band that I did see for the first time this year at the Boiler Shop in Newcastle upon Tyne. Never had the chance to see them before. I hope I get a chance to see them again, but I could have picked any song to come up next. I could have picked Letterman, but I didn't. I picked a band, well, sorry, not a band, a song. That's What You Go. So this album is called I Want to Disappear by a band called The Story So Far. So that was number 3 with The Story So Far. Now the next two. The next two was quite difficult to pick between. Firstly, we have a screaming band, and then the other one we have like a weird pop punk band. And it was very difficult between the two. I think the reason I picked the first one going first is because of the song I've listened to the most this year. So in second place, I'll have to go with a band I saw opening up for Sleep Token this year. They've opened up in all the shows, and it was the first time I've ever seen them live, first time I ever heard of them, so I listened to a lot of their music before I went and thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the album they've made is front to back outstanding. He didn't sound how I thought he would, especially with the way he looked. However, it was a lot better than I actually thought it would be. So the songs I had to pick from were quite difficult, because they're all really good, and I decided to go with the one that I think is just funny. It's good, and I love it, and it is probably my favourite song out of the whole thing. But this one actually gets a 9 out of 10 for me, this album. I think it's phenomenal. This album is called American Motorsports, but it's the 420cc version of a band called Bill Murray.
Sun setting in the background. What a way to set the scene. And we could take another lap round, but it wouldn't change a thing. Oh no, this ain't one of those where I kiss you when you go. Maybe we find each other somewhere down the road, 'cause I'm over trying and making it right when I'm still getting these concussions. Throw my head against the wall, turning nothing into something, making everything my fault. But you got me top, begging you to stay. I'm bleeding now from screaming out your name. Find a place to pull
come to the number one album of this year. There's been a lot of albums that, you know, could have been in his top 5. Green Day, for example, had one. Sum 41, Blink-182, Judas Priest had a few. You know, Falling in Reverse had one as well. Taylor Swift, don't really like her. Then again, it's there. Number one is a band I've never seen live, and I really want to. It's just timing and money, and they always seem to go down to London, and I'm sorry, but London is not the only place in the United Kingdom. In fact, it's one of the worst places, in my opinion, for gigs, because why? You know, you could go to Leeds, Manchester, or anywhere, but again, I'm not going to get into an argument about. I'm not going to talk about sort of why bands go to London, mainly because it's the capital, but other than that, there's nothing really much there. Anyway, the number one album this year, as I said before, with Poppy, she was on a song with this band. This band itself was in my top 10 for Spotify. The song itself was my most listened to song of 2024, and you know, it's very difficult to choose a song to put on. I could put that one on, but why should I? That song was called Suffocate. The song I'm going to put on is called Don't Reach For Me, and the album itself, and I have wrote it down because it's very long and I can't keep remembering it, is You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To. This album is by a band called Knck. Everyone, the top 5 albums of this year. Just to give us a quick recap: number 5, Bring Me the Horizon with Posthumus Next Gen. Then we have Poppy coming in at number 4 with Negative Spaces. Number 3 was the phenomenal The Story So Far with I Want to Disappear. Number 2, very close to being number 1 this year, Bill Murray with the American Motorsports 420cc. And finally, the number 1 in my opinion for this year, can't really say anything about it. It is Knocked Loose with You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To. Phenomenal year, I'd say, all around for these albums. This year in particular, not as good as 2023. It was still good, just wasn't as good as 2023. The upcoming year, I want to try and make reviews of the gigs I go and see, which, to help us all to save time, first off we have Neck Deep in January. That's going to be a great one with the Wonder Years. February, bit hectic. We have Set It Off, and then we have Motionless in White. And finally, we have State Champs with, you know, Broadside and the home team. That's going to be phenomenal. And then in March, you have only one of the Newcastle shows of it, which is the final night of the Sixes, which is You Me at 6. And then, lucky for me, I did get tickets to April's show, which is their final ever show. That's happening in London, so it's going to be emotional. It's going to be sad to see them go. They are one of my favourite bands. However, we can't keep them around forever, in my opinion. And they're going to do the things that they want to do now, and it's going to be a sad time anyway. And I'm going to be emotional when it ends. Then, of course, May, can't forget Slam Dunk. Going to Slam Dunk North, and the bands I'm excited to see. Hot Milk, maybe I'll go and see them. As It Is a maybe as well. Neck Deep, already seen them in January, but the two bands I want to see. Big up the Midwest emos. It's Hot Mulligan are going to be there, and that's going to be phenomenal. And then finally, I get to see Day to Remember at the headline spot. That's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to be very excited for that. And then finally, we have Download a couple of weeks later. Green Day, Sleep Token, and Korn headlining. To me, I think Sleep Token deserve the headline. If they screw up, it's on them. If they do well, and it's a worldie, it is what it is. The only way you can get there is to perform in those places. And, if you don't do well, you probably won't be back. And that happens. And Bring Me the Horizon did really well. And they are most likely that they can headline again. But I'm very excited to see things like Spirit Box. Poppy's going to be there. Bullet for My Valentine again. Polaris, I'm very excited to see. So I'm very excited to see Download. But my aim is to make some reviews of these. But that's what I'm going to do for next year. But from me, to all of you, I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. I hope it brings lots of love and lots of luck to every single one of you. But that's everything from me. All I can really say is now, Happy New Year. Bye bye.